Hey! Okay. Okay.
This is the way we rock the house. Sure enough, everybody gonna turn it out. Well, I'm kicking rock well, cause the rock's so swell. Every time you hear my name, it rings a bell. Well, I'm leading around the scene, making history with all the fly girls yelling, take me. Well, I'm Sha-Rock and I can't
Angela! Welcome!
Well, I'm Keith, but you can call me Keith.
We're about to get started in just a second. Anyone who can guess this old school hip hop song is going to get a free print. KK! What? Not Shea Butter. Not Angela. Not DJ KK up in the chat. What? Okay, so anyone who can guess this old school hip hop song can get a free print. Okay? We are about to get started in just a moment. Hey! Oh my God, it's so good to see y'all. Who know this? Drop it in the comments if you know what this is. This is iconic.
Well, let's go to work, let's go to work, let's go to.
Alright, almost there. It's not That's the Joint. But I'm worried that the people's DJ. Hold up, let me turn this down so I can stop screaming at y'all. I'm worried that the people's DJ KK, representing the Bronx, New York, might guess it. Girl, you the last person I thought was gonna pop up in here, but I'm not gonna change. I'm not gonna change the free giveaway just because you here and you probably gonna guess it. And you better not Shazam it. Use that brain. Hey. All right. Ah! Okay, I'm gonna give y'all one more moment. She said, nah, I doubt it. No, K, if anyone is gonna guess it, it is DJ KK. If y'all not already following her, please go follow her. Okay, so let me bring the music down. Ooh-wee. Thank God. Because somebody was about to get one of these brand new prints. That would be number 8. The print, we introduced it actually last week, Monday, and 7 folks have already collected their print. It is the beautiful print made by myself and China Brown. China Brown designed it, and it unlocks the next single, which drops September 15th. Please don't share any more recorded music during your broadcast. Ooh. They said so that your live doesn't get interrupted, please don't share any more recorded music. Okay, well, so it is what it is. Y'all had that chance. Okay, so here we go. Oh, what's up, Rising Roots? Mr. Jackson in the building. Okay, so let's get started. And if there's some folks who you want to be here for Women in Hip Hop Wednesdays, invite them. This is a special segment that we do once a month called Herstory in the Pages, where we read through a text that goes in. Let me just introduce it. I'm acting like I don't already have a script that I wrote down because I thought ahead of time. All right. Welcome to Women in Hip Hop Wednesdays. I am Coco Peila, MC, multi-hyphenate hip hop artist. Hey, what's up, Brother Major? Multi-hyphenate hip hop artist. I'm so excited to see y'all, so I'm all stumbling over my words. That means that I'm a MC, singer, songwriter, record producer, and cultural organizer. And I'm also the music midwife. But this is a segment called Herstory in the Pages, where we honor the lives and legacies of women in hip hop through literature. We are reading God Save the Queens by Kathy Iandoli, who's a native New Yorker. She's from Brooklyn, New York. Incredible novelist, journalist, and she's written several books. Most of them focus on women in hip hop. and I always nerd out on her, so let me stick to the script. But today, we're actually going to finally get into the chapters of the book. We're getting into part 1, Girls to the Front, chapter 1, which is called The Bronx Is Burning. If you missed last month's, we read through the prologue, and so go ahead and grab this book, get it from a library. You can find it online, Kindle, Audible, all the things. So, or just purchase it. And especially in these times, we need to support. Oh, what's up, Marvin K. White? We need to support our writers, right? So hold a second. Woo, I'm excited. I'm a little adrenalized, y'all, because Women in Hip Hop Wednesdays is literally my favorite thing to do. So if you have the book, God Save the Queens by Kathy Iandoli, pull it out. We're going to read through it as usual. If you missed last month's, we read through the prologue, A Morning in Paris. And it's not just Kathy's origin story. It's also the spiritual key. And I feel like, in a way, like it's the key to the whole book. All right. So this chapter right here, it's foundational. We're going straight to the birth of the culture, to the Bronx. Big shout out to DJ KK. Like I said, if y'all are in here with me, invite your friends, send it to them. We're going straight to the women who were there, spinning, rhyming, dancing, innovating, and often being erased. And like always, we're not just reading, we're reflecting, we're unlearning, we're remembering out loud. So let's dive straight into it. This is part 1, Girls to the Front, chapter 1, page 19, The Bronx is Burning. I'm seated in a booth at a steakhouse in New Jersey with Harlem-born, South Bronx-bred hip-hop pioneer Deborah Hooper, known as Debbie D. Now a preacher and ministry coach, Debbie is referred to as a hip-hop matriarch, one of the treasured few female pioneers to arrive during hip-hop's genesis. She lays before me one of the only real hip-hop informational artifacts of the late 1970s and early 1980s. It's a binder-bound collection of flyers. Oh my God, y'all. Take your book out, okay? Take it out, and if you ain't got it yet, just come along. And ride on a fantastic voyage. Okay. Me. They're amateur in design when compared to the loud, glossy ones that would become a hip-hop nightlife staple. The flyers are all packed with names scribbled across multicolored photocopy paper, separated in lists, at times by groups and solo performers. Debbie's name is listed quite often as a soloist, the only woman on the scene for a solid 3 years, at least judging from the flyers she has. Sometimes local high schools were listed, letting the kids know which of their friends had been invited to attend. It's a subtle testament to just how young this art form and its participants truly were at its inception. If your group name was on the flyer, then you weren't a soloist yet, Debbie explains. A soloist performs alone on stage with her DJ. The proof is in the flyers. Debbie D was one of the first to break from her group DJ Patty Duke and the Jazzy 5 MCs. She added DJ Wanda D to her setup and started performing solo in late 1981. Like I said, if y'all following along, invite somebody. How often do you get to have a Black female MC read you some hip hop history from a dope journalist, historian, and writer about women in hip hop? All right. If you scan the web pages and social media sites of women from that era, many refer to themselves as the first female MC soloist. It's a footnote that at face value feels like a moot point, but for so many women, it's a necessary detail to secure their supremacy in hip-hop's tangled history. The qualification for some is having a physical recording. For others, it's the number of times they were billed on flyers by themselves with no crew attached. Yet, many lay claim to that spot as the first female soloist. Actually, none of them were the first, DJ Cutmaster Cool V tells me. Cool V was Biz Marquis's DJ and producer for over 3 decades. What we're getting caught up in now is first and last. All of these girls are relevant because they came out at a time when it was hard for girls to come out. Perhaps they all arrived at once and never knew each other. He references Virginia's Golden Gate Quartet, a group founded in the 1930s whose cadence was nearly identical to that of the Sugar Hill Gang. They're all men, though, Cool V's point was... They're all men, though Cool V's point was that maybe the music was being made, but not everyone was hearing it. It's kind of like that tree falls in a forest question. Maybe someone was first cultivating the same sound somewhere in Mississippi or Hawaii. Maybe it was a woman. Who really knows? And back then, there wasn't significant documentation to prove anything. This leads to a lot of history being rewritten in later years, since the only cards that can be pulled are word of mouth and those flyers. You have to remember, everybody was young. They never went different places, Cool V adds. The young hip-hop pioneers rarely venture beyond the confines of their respective boroughs. It's not likely they were frequently traveling and experiencing the sounds of neighboring cities, states, or countries. First is subjective. We can say pioneer female MCs from the importance of being at the top of the pioneering list, which is something essential for women from the Bronx, he says. Still, at that time, considering how hard it was for women to even have the opportunity to pick up the microphone, there's an added layer of wanting to be cited as one of the scarce few who were actually offered an opportunity to flex their skills. All right, so let's pause. First of all, it gives you another opportunity to invite someone who loves the culture, has invested in the culture, would love this lunch break read along, would love to learn more or study more with us. So go ahead and invite folks in. And it also gives us an opportunity to notice. The flyers matter, right? The documentation matters, and the fight to be seen as first isn't ego, it's actually survival. These women were laying claim to space in a system that wouldn't even say their names. And Debbie D, MC Debbie D, put some respect on it, right? She's proof that we were not just there, we women in hip hop, were holding it down. All right, now it gets juicy. Y'all ready? The waiting game to get on stage was frustrating for women in hip hop's early days, though it wouldn't last forever. In 1977, the block was hot in the South Bronx, literally. A series of fires swept across New York City during the 70s, decimating the Bronx especially. The blame has always been a mixed bag, from rumored arson to cashing in on insurance policies to the poor quality of the building structures and the negligence of the fire departments who came to the rescue once a blaze hit. Tensions were high, so when the infamous New York City blackout arrived in July 1977, widespread looting across the boroughs became the delayed response to everything else that was going on. For the Bronx in particular, that looting was serendipitous for the expansion of hip-hop. DJ Kool Herc was one of the very few leaders of the burgeoning hip-hop movement to own a sound system. So he'd had a solid 4-year run as king since the infamous Rec Room party at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue. Big shout out to hip-hop's birthday, which just passed last Monday, August 11th. Hip-hop turned 52. So this is what they're talking about, what she's talking about, this infamous Rec Room party, which we cite in hip hop culture as the first hip hop jam. And you would have read that if you had been tuned in before. Okay, but you can pick up the book and get up to speed with us. Okay, so He had a solid 4-year run as king since the infamous Rec Room party at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue in the Bronx, based largely upon his access to that booming equipment. If your sound system was weak, you shouldn't even bother showing up. Herc always showed up. During the blackout, young hip-hop kids looted too, targeting electronic stores and boosting their own sound systems. While not everyone shoplifted their gear, that moment sparked a desire to DJ beyond the Bronx and into the neighboring boroughs. So now everyone got in on the action and threw their own parties. With countless jams happening that summer, there was plenty of room on the mic for women. One pioneer in particular was Debbie D. Hailing from the Bronx's Webster houses, Debbie was one of the first female MCs to emerge during that historic summer of 1977. I'll never forget it, Kathy, Debbie recalls to me over 4 decades later. I can see it plain as day. I was living in the projects on the 19th floor and I'm sitting on the bed. It's warm outside, the windows are up, and I'm like, what is that noise? What is that? I asked my mom if I could go outside and I followed the music. I come to find out it was in this area called the Middle Building. There were like 1 million kids outside, 13, 14 years old. There was no adults. See, parks were flooded with kids all congregating around one loud stereo system powered by a hookup to the street lamp. The DJ was spinning, the MC was rhyming. It was an open opportunity to stretch your stuff, and right away, Debbie D was all in. After a few visits to the jams, Debbie posed a life-changing question to the DJ. Can I get on your mic? One of the major differences between old school and new school is that new school hip-hop artists go straight to the studio, Debbie remarks. Old school hip-hop artists went straight to the streets when it was time to rhyme. So what happened was you had to prepare your rhyme and you had to say the same rhyme over and over in your house, because by the time you went to the street, you had to know it. You couldn't mess it up. It was trial and error leading to an art form that she would soon master, first joining the group DJ Patty Duke and the Jazzy 5 MCs, and eventually bringing her skills to the silver screen in Harry Belafonte's hip-hop flick, Beat Street, and aligning with the legendary Juice Crew, a cross-borough through primarily Queensbridge native hip-hop collective founded by radio DJ Mr. Magic and produced by Marley Marl. Okay, I just want to pause for just 2 seconds because MC Debbie D is so dope. She's so raw. You could go follow her on Instagram, but also if y'all know anything about any of these groups and projects that she's a part of, these are really foundational and very influential groups of folks and leaders in our culture, and also moments in the culture. So, y'all should be taking y'all notes. You feel me? I got my notes in the margins, highlighters, pens, underlining. Take your notes because, we are that valid and worthy of learning and knowing and understanding. And I come to you as a scholar, not a teacher, right? I mean, I'm learning with you and refreshing my memory and deepening it. All right. So there was a certain level of cachet to women joining all male groups. First, it gave their presence a sense of purpose. For years, women were waiting for that fateful moment to jump on the mic in the midst of an already forming male-dominated platform. Standing out from a mix of guys meant greater novelty, since back then, as an MC, male or female, you were merely just an accessory to the DJ to begin with. Now it's all about the MC, but back then, the DJ was at the forefront, Debbie D says. As such, the best way to pop as an MC was to be different alongside your group mates. Being an entirely different gender certainly helped, though skills were also crucial. Second, you had to join a crew no matter what. Nobody was running around like a Lone Ranger, Debbie adds. Everybody was looking for a crew. If your crew had a DJ with a strong sound system, back to the Herc business model, then you were guaranteed heightened visibility. If their sound system was weak, you had to work that much harder for recognition. Hold up, wait a minute. Crews were blooming left and right during that period too, and women were becoming more popular as members, though only one woman per male crew could exist. Everything was moving fast. One of the first groups to incorporate a woman was the Funky Four. So that record that I was playing in the beginning that nobody guessed, it was Rappin' and Rockin' the House by the Funky 4+1. We're about to read a little bit more about them with the legendary MC Sha-Rock. So one of the first groups to incorporate a woman was the Funky Four. When it took on Sharon Sha-Rock Green, who is regarded as the first female MC, eventually MC Sha-Rock and fellow member Raheem left the group, with Raheem joining Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. The Funky Four then recruited Lil Rodney C and Jazzy Jeff, but became the Funky 4+1 when Sha-Rock rejoined. I was the original part of the four, Sha-Rock confirmed in an interview with Vice in 2014. There were 3 other guys and myself. When she returned, she received the moniker Miss Plus One, and the group changed its name to the Funky 4+1. MC Sha-Rock was the most incredible MC, Curtis Blow says, of Miss Plus One. I would put her against any guy during that time. She was just devastating, and she was pretty too. She, to me, was the epitome of a female MC. Funky 4+1 was the first hip-hop group to get a recording contract through Enjoy Records with their 1979 single, Rappin' and Rockin' the House. They later joined Sugar Hill Records under the leadership of CEO Sylvia Robinson. That same year, Lady B, a radio DJ hailing from Philly, released her song To the Beat Y'all, along with Lady D, who released her namesake track, Lady D, on the same 7-inch vinyl single as MCT's New Sounds. In 1981, after Blondie's Debbie Harry made history when Rapture became the first rap music video to air on MTV, she introduced the Funky 4+1 on Saturday Night Live, making them the first hip-hop group to appear on national television. So this segment is layered. Women were often the one, the plus one, the exception, the special guest. But these women weren't just there, they were the backbone. Sha-Rock wasn't just the girl in the crew, right? She was outshining dudes and she knew it. Let's keep going. More female artists and their groups flourished throughout the early 80s, many under the umbrella of the Zulu Nation, led by pioneer Africa Bambaataa. Lisa Lee, who was the first and only female in the Soul Sonic Force of Planet Rock fame, later joined the Cosmic Force. Sweet and Sour was a part of Kool Herc's crew, the Herculords, along with Pebbly Pooh. Hey, big shout out to MC Pebbly Pooh. I have had the honor of getting to meet her and connect with her. Also find her on Instagram, follow her. She's both an MC and an icon, and also she designs these super dope shoes that she like puts rhinestones on, and she she makes it specifically for you. So she's incredible. She was so humble and so warm and kind. And when I asked her what she wanted our generation of hip hoppers to know and do, she just said like to remember, to say their names, to remember them, to anyway. So big shout out to MC Pebbly Pooh, who was with her brothers Master Don and the Def Committee. Pebbly Pooh was also one of the first women to fly solo. The first debate carries over into all female groups as well. Hold a second. South Carolina's The Sequence was the first all-female hip-hop group to cut a record with Sugar Hill Records, though group member Angie Stone would later switch over to R&B. Long live Angie Stone, rest in power, goddess. They had the first hook I had ever heard on Funk You Up, Curtis Blow says of The Sequence's 1979 single. Curtis released The Breaks a year later. A lot of people give me the credit of having the first hook. These are the breaks. But no, Funk You Up actually came before that. I have to give them their props. Then there are the Winley sisters, Tanya and Paulette. Their father, Paul Winley, turned his doo-wop label, Winley Records, into a hip-hop label, the first label to actually cut a record with African Bambaataa. Tanya Winley was known as the solo front at the original Sweet Tea, predating Toy Sweet Tea Hold up. Give me a second. Tanya Winley was known on the solo front as the original Sweet Tea, predating Toy Sweet Tea Jackson, the prominent female MC who in 1986 scored a hit called It's My Beat, featuring the legendary DJ Jazzy Joyce. As a group, the Winley sisters recorded the single Rhymin' and Rappin' in 1979, and Sweet Tea dropped her solo track Vicious Rap in 1980. There's a debate over whether Sweet Tea was the first female soloist to cut a record, since she recorded her song in 1979, the same year as Lady B's To the Beat Shaw, but it wasn't released immediately. Okay, just for one moment, let me just pause. So this is something to know about women in hip hop, right? Oftentimes, and I don't know what her story is, but oftentimes women, Black women, women of color, women in hip hop encounter other oppressions than their male, counterparts. And so oftentimes we might get there first, but how long does it take us to get the record out, to get the resources or the support, or to get our record back from the person who's holding on to it? So that's just something that I want y'all to footnote in your mind. And we're going to continue seeing stories like this throughout the book. All right. However, the Mercedes Ladies are universally regarded as the first all-female hip-hop group. Formed in 1976, between 1976 and 1977, and composed of both MCs and DJs. It took the teenaged group a few years to gain significant traction, especially when male egos trickled into the equation. When I first started DJing, it was because I had seen Grandmaster Flash when I was 14, remembers Baby D, a Mercedes Ladies MC and DJ from 1978 to 1983. Baby D was self-taught on the turntables, rocking house parties with the guys at the James Monroe Projects in the Bronx. Baby D came into her own, however, when she met her mentor, Grand Wizard Theodore, through an artist named MC Smiley, not to be confused with her group mate, R.D. Smiley. Theodore taught her the art of scratch, and it was on ever since. Baby D's rep preceded her. It was on par with Grandmaster Flash and Theodore, which kind of pisses me off because, which kind of pisses me off because men back then, they would not acknowledge the females, she says with a pitch in her tone. Okay, I'm gonna read that one more time. Theodore taught her the art of scratch, and it was on ever since. Baby D's rep preceded her. I was on par with Grandmaster Flash and Theodore, which kind of pisses me off because men back then, they would not acknowledge the females, she says with a pitch in her tone. One thing to know about Mercedes Ladies is also big shout out to DJ Flame, who was an original DJ also with the Mercedes Ladies, who now has a gospel show. Also find her, DJ Flame, here on Instagram and on across all platforms. She's now a gospel DJ where she's devoted her DJing fully to playing music of Christian faith. And she has a radio show that I think it's like from 4 to 7 every morning, based here in New York City. So find her, DJ Flame. But back to Baby D. At one point, she says, Grandmaster Flash, when we were talking, he told me, you know what group really made us afraid? I said, what? He said, Mercedes Ladies. I said, why? He said, because you are me, but you're a female. Your MCs, they can rap. They're like Melly Mel, Kid Creole, all of them. And what's even worse is that you spin like me. Baby D credits Theodore for the skills, but Flash for the knowledge as it pertains to her navigation through hip hop. Baby D was an incredible DJ, Curtis Blow says. He later made history when he took Baby D on tour, making her one of the first female DJs to tour with a male MC. I actually stole her from the Mercedes Ladies and took her on the road for about 2 years, he explains. She was very fast and accurate on the turntables. Her style of cuts reminded me of Flash or Theodore. I think she was the best female DJ I ever saw. As much as Baby D was regarded as a skilled DJ, her rhymes were equally potent. She called herself Double Jeopardy, and Grandmaster Flash agreed. But then, when you sit back and listen to these cats talk, I'm like, so when are y'all gonna talk about Mercedes Ladies? She says, sometimes I have to sit down and question myself if we were even there. Considering Mercedes Ladies still have to fight for a name check at all, Baby D isn't particularly concerned with being first, but is adamant about being known as the foundation for all others that followed. Mercedes Ladies is without a doubt the foundation of females within hip hop, she says. We are the ones that busted our ass so that Shantae and the Sequence and Salt and Pepper and everybody else could go and do what they did. We did that. We fought that. We fought Starsky. Okay, pause, because this story about Starsky is ill. But let's just, again, send out some invitations to folks who you think would like to hear this last little piece of the story. So, Baby D said, sometimes I have to question if we were even there. That's how erasure feels. It's why we do this right here every Wednesday. So nobody ever has to ask that again. Mercedes Ladies laid the foundation. They were feared, men and women alike, and they still have to ask for acknowledgement. Starsky? It was a night in downtown Manhattan, maybe at the Palladium, but Baby D's memory of the venue is cloudy. The era of the outdoor sound system wars had come to a close at the end of the summer of 1977, and performances had moved into the clubs during the colder weather. Lovebug Starsky and Busy Bee Starsky had just performed a clean set. Mercedes Ladies were on stage, but Baby D was in the back fighting with Grandmaster Flash. Various acts would often share equipment, and she had forgotten her needles and her records. All she needed were those records and needles, but Flash wasn't giving them up without a lecture. She was annoyed, and Flash was angry. He raised his voice, and Dee lost her mind. "You will not talk to me that way because I'm a female," she yelled back. It was part gender war, part lovers' quarrel. Of course, at the time, me and Flash were going out, she says now, with a laugh. Meanwhile, their bickering was drowned out by loud booing from the crowd. Dee ran out on stage behind R.D. Smiley's turntables, the same set successfully used by Starsky moments prior. Except now, they're not working. "We were sabotaged," Baby D says, believing Lovebug Starsky to have been the culprit. They would do crap like that to females that were good. Somebody in the chat dropping hearts because they know what time it is. Let me scroll down to the comments because, oh, yeah. Y'all in the building. Oh, KK said, hey, DJ Flame. Yes, the iconic, right? They could never. Oh, wow. All right. Beautiful. Yeah, so I know some hip hop heads in here because y'all know exactly what this is. We were sabotaged, Baby D says, believing Love Bug Starsky to have been the culprit. They would do crap like that to females that were good. Whether refusing to lift heavy equipment or climb fences they had already climbed to plug in their own sound systems during outdoor sets, the men had a frequent response to women who asked for help. Do it yourself. This time, the saboteurs weren't going to ruin Mercedes Lady's shine. Baby D and RD Smiley figured out the glitch. It came down to a simple dial turned all the way down. Haters. Flash handed her records. Flash handed her his records and needles and said, "Go save the show." D walked back on stage, tapped her group mate Sherry Cher on the shoulder and said, "Let's do this." Victory was achieved. We lit up the stage that night. Okay, so I have to hop off really soon, but I just want to say a couple things before we go. Again, this was part 1, Girls to the Front, chapter 1, The Bronx Is Burning, from God Save the Queens, The Essential History of Women in Hip Hop by Kathy Iandoli. The men tried to sabotage them, y'all. What? That's fucked up. Flash didn't want to give her his gear. Booing crowds, broken setups, stolen shine. What book is this? Oh, God Save the Queens by Kathy Iandoli. Yes. Yeah. Yes, you need this book. This book is so dope. And the crazy part about this book is like so many people don't know that this book exists, this is the oppression. It's not that we're not here. It's not that we're not writing, rhyming, spinning, breaking, graphing. We are here. It's that we don't get, what's up, Steve? It's that we don't get the same support. We don't get the same platforms. We don't get the same amplification. So let's be those amplifiers. Let's be the ones that share the books, that say her name, that share the information, that invite her to rock on a set and pay her well, right? Pay her just as much as the dudes, if not more, right? So anyway, booing crowds, broken setups, stolen shine. And Baby D, she came back out, tapped her girl on the shoulder and said, let's do this. That is resilience, that is legacy, and that is hip hop. So before I hop off, I'm good, Steve. I'm just about to hop off. Let's breathe. That was a lot of history and power in one chapter. So let's now reflect and build. Don't just be passive. When we post these clips on my timeline today and tomorrow, and when we post it up to YouTube, get in there, drop questions, drop your thoughts. Tag other people. This is how we spread information and how we preserve and protect the culture. What stood out to you most from MC Debbie D's story? What do you think first? Why do you think first matters so much in hip hop? How do we make sure these women are remembered, not just referenced, right? This is a whole history book on the essential history of women in hip hop. It's not a chapter. I'm not going to name no names or throw no shade, but I will say I have read countless hip hop history books that give women a paragraph at the end of the book. Like, oh, and by the way, there were women, and then they name like the biggest names, right? They give women a chapter, right? So, how do we make sure that these women are remembered, not just referenced? This is what we're doing with Women in Hip Hop Wednesdays, every Wednesday from 12 to 1 Eastern Time. Have you ever felt like the plus one in a space where you were the backbone? Big shout out to the people's DJ KK from the Bronx, who's in the chat right now. Okay, go follow her. And who are the Mercedes ladies in your community, the unsung legends? So drop your answers in the comments as we're posting about today's episode. Go to YouTube and share the full episode, or if you missed the full episode, we will have it up in the next couple of days. Let's tag, honor, and uplift the women in hip hop who deserve their flowers. Now, we don't wait till they're dead at their funerals to talk about, oh, she's so dope. What the fuck? No, that is over. That's done with. And then in closing, if you're moved by this, if this reminded you who you are, if this revealed something new, then I invite you to collect the print. The print is not just merch. It's a piece of the ritual. It's how we preserve this moment in time. It's our refusal to be forgotten. I'm going to drop it here in the comments here. It's in the link in my bio. It's at cocopeila.com/the print. My next single drops September 15th, and I've released it as this dope, iconic hip hop print with a code that then unlocks the download, and there's only 500 of them. So you won't get access to it. It's not going to be on streaming platforms. We doing it old school. If you got the hard copy, you got it. Otherwise, you miss out, right? And don't think I won't raise the price. They still mad that the capsule is now $2,497, and they can stay mad, right? Because we have to have enough resources to be able to preserve ourselves and continue to do this work and pay our collaborators well too, right? When I want to bring KK on tour with me, I want to pay KK $5,000 every time she comes with me. I want to be able to cover her expenses, right? The way that I do that is by actually knowing my worth and requiring people to pay me my price, right? And that's how we support and invest into the culture, right? So if you want to know more about the print, go on my page, go to the top pin things, go to the link in bio. It's everywhere. cocopeila.com/the print. And I'm going to put the link right here so y'all can go grab it now. Don't wait. Support a dope ass Black woman in hip hop now. DJ KK says, funny enough, I experienced a male DJ testing me recently. Of course you did. And this is not about men bashing. This is about us recognizing systemic oppression and noticing it so that we can support each other and also check each other when we see it happening. I appreciate you, DJ KK. K is a real one. I love you, and I love knowing you and getting to build with you. Big shout out to Rising Roots, Mr. Jackson, who dropped the link again in the chat. Go now, pre-order it. Also, Klarna, Affirm, Afterpay. If you need to break it up into smaller payments, it is $97, and it's dope. And we talk a lot of shit about the music industry. We talk a lot of shit about, hit artists being exploited in hip hop. If we wanted to change, we create our own systems and we invest in them, right? So, okay. Hey. Okay, this is for the culture, the memory, and the women who kept the mic, the breaking, the graffiti art, the DJing lit when no one else wanted to pass the mic, share the spray can, share the moves, all that. Thank you for joining me for Herstory in the Pages, a segment of the Women in Hip Hop Wednesdays weekly podcast. Shout out to Kathy Iandoli for telling the truth and documenting what matters. We'll be back next week, same time, same fire. Until then, keep building, keep rhyming, keep remembering. I love y'all for real, for real.